Today, we are going to be exploring a question that every human being has experienced at one time or another on this planet, in this incarnative existence, and that is, how do we overcome blocks that are stopping us from progressing in our lives? We see the next chapter, we know exactly what we need to do to get there, yet we can't bring ourselves to do it. We feel stuck, we feel trapped, we think we're lazy, we think we're undisciplined. But are you really lazy? Are you really just undisciplined? Are you really just, oh, I'm just a procrastinator. Oh, I just have ADHD. Is that really it? Is that really what it is? Blocks are very tricky things. Energetic blocks in our lives are very tricky things to deal with because they're sneaky. They're sneaky because they like to hide. They like to be in disguise. They like to convince you that it's a billion other things on the surface so that you don't access what it's really about, because what it's really about comes down to things like fear and pain. Your body doesn't want to feel fear and pain. Your body doesn't want to feel that. Your mind wants to help your body, so your mind blames it on a billion other things. And it feels on the surface like we're just lazy or undisciplined, or we need a better routine, or we need to just do it. David Goggins it, just do it, right? And that may work for some people, but I'm here to talk about why that actually happens and ways that we can investigate what's really going on and give you tools to work through that and continue progressing on your merry way towards your dream life, towards the things you really want to do, that you're passionate about. And I'll offer an example from my own life. Doing these videos is my prime example, right? I knew this is something that's so fulfilling to me. I've been doing this work with myself for a decade now. I mean, I'm still pretty young, but a decade, right? 26 now, and I've been on this journey since 16 to 18, around there, around that range. I mean, it kind of bumped up. It ramped up when I was 18 for sure, but the first moments I really started reflecting deeply, it was probably 16. My first experience of real disillusionment, where my fantasy around something didn't meet what was actually happening, and I thought, why was I like completely delusional for that however long, you know? But my example is these videos, in the sense of, this feels like my calling, right? I have a whole vision of what I want this to expand into. It all starts with this. It all starts with just connecting with you, connecting with a community. And no matter how much I can see exactly what I need to do, I have felt so many blocks doing this. I have had these insane otherworldly experiences consistently for so many years, and I've kept it so close to the chest because I never felt like anyone would understand. I didn't think there were other people out there. I thought there were people out there in the world that would understand, but just nobody I knew. I remember being 19 after an intense psychedelic experience. One, not my first one, but one of them, a very intense one. And I remember just having the thought, if I don't if I don't just meet people where they're at, I'm not going to have any friends, because I felt like I was thinking in a different language. I felt like I was experiencing life in a different language. I was on a different channel of the TV, of physical reality, and nobody understood anything I was talking about. Nobody resonated with me. I felt super isolated and alone. And now, taking this into a public expression of a realm here is understandably daunting in a way, because I'm taking something that felt so personal to me, something that felt sacred, like I didn't I didn't know how people would react. I didn't know if I would be accepted as this self. And I just said, here I am, here it is, right? And I think you can probably guess, right? Like when I start asking, what really is it? What really is it that's making this so hard for me? I've procrastinated a lot. I keep finding reasons to put it off or not do it, or, oh, well, I'll just do this tomorrow, or, oh, I'm recording this right now at like 3:30 in the morning. It might even be 3:45 by now, right? That's an example, right? It's like, why didn't I do this earlier today? But here I am. And when we think of, okay, what is the block about? I've explored this for quite a bit the past few months. And, you know, when we explore blocks, we really take it from an intellectual perspective first. We go, well, what is it? Am I afraid? Okay, what am I afraid of? And I can think, okay, I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of this, right? And then through spiritual work, through breath work, different things that I was able to partake in, I saw it was deeper. It wasn't just about fear. It wasn't just fear of not being accepted. It wasn't just fear of not being enough. It wasn't just fear of, being successful and failing, like going somewhere and then just failing, losing it, or not making it anywhere at all, or trying as hard as I can and not getting anywhere. Those are all things I thought at first. Afraid of feeling unworthy, so it's easier to not try. The pressure of that. But when I went deeper, I found a core wound in there, a wound of, I'm afraid it's unsafe. I'm afraid of putting myself into a space where all of a sudden there's all this pressure, there's all these eyes on me, there's all this scrutiny and criticism and the fear of just being unsafe. There's an inner child in me that craves safety, emotional safety, and this is an unsafe feeling, to go out there into the scary world of people's opinions, especially nowadays in the internet, right? And I'm not a person who typically cares really about, other people's opinions about me. I would say I have a pretty strong sense of self, but no one is immune to fears of having to deal with it, of having to have a lot of negativity thrown at you, and how you're going to manage that, right? And that's the fear. But what I realized in that process was, when we experience blocks, we always come at it from the intellectual perspective. We always intellectualize it and analyze it. What is it about? It's about this, I guess. Okay, well, what I'll have to do is, feel all that come up and just do it anyway, right? And that's true, right? You do have to do that at the end of the day. But I am asserting that it's something that can't be intellectualized. It's something that must be felt. It's something that our brain reaches for reasons and ways to go about it, so we don't have to feel what really the block is about. And for me, I see that these blocks, the spaces we find ourselves in where we want so badly to just reach our potential and go for it, but we're blocking ourselves, we're just stopping ourselves energetically, is when we intellectualize it, the structure that we create around what it is, we pose as this problem. This is a problem that I need to work through and I need to overcome. But what happens when we pose it as a problem is we push it away. And when we push it away, think of it like you're on a road and there's a roadblock here. And when we do that, we push it 5 feet forward and we go, okay, now it's not there. We walk 5 feet and we run into it again. I probably clapped over the microphone. We walk 5 feet and we run into it again. And rather than structuring this like a roadblock, an obstacle that we need to overcome, we need to approach it emotionally and take ownership of the feeling. Accept the feeling. Take ownership of the feeling. Bring the roadblock in, not push it away. Right? So what I realized was the moment that I struggled and I struggled and I struggled and I struggled and I just wanted to not feel blocked so badly that the moment I just said, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be enough. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be safe. I'm afraid. And I owned it. I felt the resistance melt away. The resistance melts away with acceptance of the feeling. It's universal across everything in your life. It's how it works. And it's the same with overcoming blocks. When we look at things as an obstacle and a problem that we need to fix, we create resistance. We're resisting that being the case because we want this to be the case. We don't want this. We want this to be the case. But if I say, I don't mind that you're there, I accept that you're there, I take ownership that you're there, that part of me that's afraid, that child that's afraid of being unsafe. I'm afraid. Then I feel like I can do it afraid. It doesn't feel like I have to work through this fear and then I can do it. It feels like, oh, I'm afraid and that's okay and I can do it anyway. The thing that changes everything is when it's okay, when the fear's okay, when the thing that's blocking you, which is almost always fear, is okay. When it's not okay that you're afraid, you need to be something else, that block will solidify like hard cement right in the center of your chest. So the themes in these videos are oftentimes similar. It always comes back to accepting yourself more and more and more. How can I accept myself? Through accepting yourself, do things dissolve? And that fear may not dissolve initially. But what happens is if I can accept the fear, then I can do more of the thing that makes me afraid that I want to do. And the more I do the thing that makes me afraid that I want to do, the less fear will control me. The less the fear will be this potent thing that I have to work through. It's something I can walk with, and it won't be there as much. You build confidence through repetition, but you can't start unless you first accept that you're afraid, that you're blocked. When it's okay, when you're okay with it, that's when everything changes. Hey, if you resonated with this, if you're liking what I'm putting out, if you vibe with me, if you feel my vibes, right? Or if you just like beanies, that's another reason. Subscribe for more. Like the video. Hit that notification bell to know when these things are popping up. And if they resonate with you, if you resonate with the topic, follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I got more stuff there. Snippets of good wisdom. I'm going to start one-on-one coaching soon. So if you're seeing this, go check my bios for that as well. Or shoot me a DM. Anything. I welcome it all. But most importantly, thank you for taking the time to watch if you're listening to this part. Thank you for listening. I hope you got something out of this. I wish you peace, love. I hope those blocks melt away. I hope you accept yourself more. And this rooster agrees. Okay? Okay?